The question of whether Stoicism was influenced by Buddhism is often raised because of the striking similarities between the two traditions. Both emphasize control over one's inner life rather than external circumstances. Both warn against attachment. Both promote a form of emotional discipline that resists excess, impulse, and instability. At a superficial level, the overlap appears significant. However, when examined historically and philosophically, the answer becomes more precise. There is no clear evidence that Stoicism was directly influenced by Buddhism. What exists instead is a case of parallel development, two distinct traditions arriving at similar conclusions through different cultural, historical, and intellectual paths. Stoicism emerged in the Hellenistic world in the early 3rd century BCE, founded by Zeno of Citium in Athens. Buddhism, by contrast, originated earlier in the Indian subcontinent, traditionally dated to the life of Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, in the 5th to 4th century BCE. Chronologically, Buddhism predates Stoicism. This has led some to speculate that ideas may have traveled westward, especially after the campaigns of Alexander the Great, which opened channels between the Greek and Indian worlds. These contacts are historically documented. Greek kingdoms were established in parts of Central Asia and northern India. Trade routes expanded. Cultural exchange became more plausible. Yet plausibility is not evidence. There is no surviving text, testimony, or philosophical record that demonstrates a direct transmission of Buddhist ideas into early Stoicism. The Stoic school, as represented by Zeno, Cleanthes, and Chrysippus, develops its doctrines primarily within the context of Greek philosophy. Its intellectual lineage can be traced through Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, and the Cynics. These influences are explicit and well documented. Buddhism does not appear within this chain. To understand the similarities, it is more useful to compare the core principles of each system rather than assume a causal relationship. Stoicism is built around the concept of living in accordance with nature. This includes both human nature, our capacity for reason, and the broader rational structure of the cosmos. The Stoics believed that the universe is ordered, intelligible, and governed by a rational principle, often referred to as the Logos. To live well is to align oneself with this order. Virtue, in this context, is the only true good. External conditions, wealth, health, status, are considered indifferent in relation to moral worth. They may be preferred or dispreferred, but they do not determine whether a life is good. Buddhism, by contrast, begins with a different framework. Its central concern is suffering, or dukkha. The Four Noble Truths outline the nature of this suffering, its origin, its cessation, and the path leading to its end. The root of suffering is identified as craving, attachment to impermanent phenomena. The solution is not alignment with a rational cosmic order, but the cessation of attachment through insight and disciplined practice. At a practical level, both systems encourage a form of detachment. However, the underlying reasons differ. In Stoicism, detachment arises from a distinction between what is within our control and what is not. Emotions such as anxiety, fear, and anger are understood as the result of incorrect judgments about external events. By correcting these judgments, emotional disturbance can be reduced. In Buddhism, detachment is grounded in the recognition of impermanence and non-self. All phenomena are transient. Clinging to them leads inevitably to dissatisfaction. The goal is not to correct judgments about value in the same rationalist sense, but to transform one's perception of reality itself. Another point of comparison is the treatment of the self. Stoicism maintains a strong concept of the rational self. Human beings are seen as agents capable of reason, responsibility, and moral choice. Ethical development involves strengthening this rational capacity. Buddhism, particularly in its classical formulations, challenges the notion of a permanent self. The doctrine of anatta, or non-self, suggests that what we call the self is a composite of changing processes rather than a fixed entity. This difference is not minor. It shapes the entire philosophical orientation of each system. In Stoicism, ethical responsibility is anchored in a stable, rational identity. In Buddhism, liberation involves seeing through the illusion of such stability. Despite these differences, there are areas of convergence that are difficult to ignore. Both traditions emphasize discipline. Both encourage reflection on one's thoughts and reactions. Both reject the idea that external success guarantees inner well-being. Both aim at a form of tranquility, ataraxia in the Greek tradition, and nirvana, or liberation, in Buddhism. These similarities can be explained without assuming direct influence. Human beings across cultures face similar problems. Uncertainty, loss, desire, fear, and social instability are not confined to one region or time. Philosophical systems often arise as structured responses to these shared conditions. When thinkers confront the same underlying issues, it is not surprising that some of their solutions resemble each other. There is also the question of method. Stoicism relies heavily on rational analysis. It seeks to clarify beliefs, identify errors in judgment, and replace them with more accurate assessments. Buddhist practice, while not devoid of reasoning, places greater emphasis on meditation and experiential insight. Understanding is not only conceptual, but also direct and embodied. This methodological difference further supports the idea of independent development. If Stoicism had borrowed directly from Buddhism, one might expect closer alignment in practice as well as in theory. Instead, the techniques and emphasis remain distinct. The historical context also matters. Stoicism develops within a Greek intellectual environment, shaped by debates about logic, physics, and ethics. Its terminology, arguments, and structure reflect this background. Buddhism arises within a different setting, engaging with Indian philosophical concerns such as rebirth, karma, and liberation from cyclical existence. While later forms of Buddhism would evolve and diversify, its early formulations are deeply rooted in this context. The absence of shared technical vocabulary or conceptual frameworks further weakens the case for direct influence. It is more accurate to view Stoicism and Buddhism as separate traditions that converge on certain practical insights. Both recognize that much of human distress originates internally rather than externally. Both attempt to develop methods for reducing this distress. Both question the value of conventional goals such as wealth or status. But they do so from different starting points and with different philosophical commitments. In modern discussions, the comparison between Stoicism and Buddhism often serves a practical purpose. It highlights the possibility of a cross-cultural philosophy of resilience. It suggests that certain strategies for managing emotion and expectation are not confined to a single tradition. This can be useful, but it should not lead to the conclusion that one system is derived from the other. The historical evidence does not support that claim. What it supports is something more subtle. That different civilizations, working independently, can arrive at overlapping understandings of how to live. This does not diminish either tradition. If anything, it strengthens their credibility. It suggests that their insights are not arbitrary, but grounded in recurring features of human experience. So, was Stoicism influenced by Buddhism? There is no convincing evidence that it was. The similarities between the two are real, but they are better explained as parallel responses to common problems, rather than as the result of direct transmission. Stoicism remains firmly rooted in the Greek philosophical tradition. Buddhism remains rooted in the Indian tradition. Where they meet is not in history, but in the shared attempt to understand and manage the conditions of human life. That intersection is meaningful, but it does not require a historical connection to be so.